Hey, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Elliott and you're watching Rickety ski reviews. You would think that people wouldn't want their quivers roasted. When I first kind of introduced this segment, I thought, oh, there'll be like a few people to do it who are funny, but you know, it'll just be like a one-off, just something to keep busy in the summer. Let me tell you what, a lot of people want their quivers roasted or rated or whatever. In fact, it was so much that I had to turn it into a Patreon tier just to give myself a little bit of breathing room. But the trade-off is now that I have made it into a Patreon tier, I have to keep my promises, which is fine. It's a fun segment. I like doing it. It's just, I didn't expect to have that much interest. So if I missed your quiver, I'm so sorry. I am just going to try to prioritize it. Eventually, maybe when it slows down in the summer, I'll do it again. But for now, we're gonna do the Patreon Rate My Quiver. If you wanna have this done to your ski quiver, consider joining our Patreon. It's how we're able to review a lot of skis, especially skis that the brands don't wanna send to us. So I'm really grateful for all that support there. It's allowed me to do really simple things, which I should have done a long time ago, but getting a second camera battery. Basically, when this camera would die, I would just go inside and charge it, or I just stop shooting for the day. It's so silly. Now I've got two batteries. Same for storage. Whatever my camera came with from the Costco bundle I got 8 years ago, oh my gosh. I would just have to thumb through and delete files. I should have upgraded that, and the Patreon has allowed me to make a lot of those upgrades with a little bit more breathing room. So without further ado, thank you to the Patreon people. If you want to be a part of that, there will be a link in the description. But as of right now, let's just jump into your quivers and roast them, rate them, and if in a handful of cases, let people know what maybe their next ski that they should be looking at. The nice thing about having a handful of skis is that you're not in a really urgent place to buy skis, and you can kind of just wait things out until something kind of suits your fancy. Maybe you demo something and it absolutely fits your ski style perfectly, or if you're kind of looking for deals or just looking for upgrades throughout the years, it gives you a lot more breathing room to kind of build things out in a more relaxed fashion. So I'll try to let you guys know what I think you could add to your quiver. So anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's jump into it. Our first quiver comes from Brian from Patreon. He says, I'm a 42-year-old 6-foot East Coast icon skier, mostly Sugarbush, Killington early and late season. That's a lot of Killington skiers. A little Stratton, around 40 days total last year. Oh, that's great. Consider myself an advanced skier, which probably means you're an expert. Grew up in upstate New York. You know what I mean? If you think you're an expert, you're either beyond an expert, whatever that is, or you're an advanced. But if you think you're advanced, you're probably closer to expert. I'm not sure how to explain that. Nobody self-identifies their ability very well. You're either overly humble or overly confident. It's one of those things where the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. Anyway, that's a ramble. Let's keep going. Did a little racing. Yeah, that probably puts you in the top 75% of skiers. Just the fundamentals. Then didn't ski at all for almost 20 years. College, med school, lived in the South. That happens. Started skiing again 6 years ago when moved back to New England. Really into it the last 3 years. Okay, let's kind of go through. I don't want to reveal too much personal information either. Here are my skis. From most to least skied last season. Okay, that helps. Volkl Kendo 88, 177 centimeter, 2024 daily driver. Low to medium tide, which is about 2/3 of the time in Vermont the last few years. Especially fun when I'm skiing alone or trying to keep up with the 12-year-old on piste. Always in the car just in case. Yeah, that's how I feel about the Mantras too. I keep the M7s, but again, I'm on the West Coast. I keep the M7s on hand. The Mantra 88, I can believe on the East Coast probably gets a ton of mileage. If I was skiing back east, that is probably a ski I would want to have. Maybe the Mantra 84, depending on the hill, right? Depending on how narrow the trails are on one of those Vermont mountains, but that's a phenomenal ski, and I'm not surprised to hear you get a ton of mileage out of it. Okay, the next ski, Salomon QST 98, 183, light blue, 2023-ish, powder, bumps, trees. Sure, that makes sense. Especially for a lot of people, that probably covers a lot of the powder days. Not the big nuking days, but for light amounts of powder, and also you're getting the cork dampener, that makes total sense to me. And I'm not surprised to hear you get a lot. The Castle Rock Peak at Sugarbush is mostly natural ungroomed. Oh, I've skied Sugarbush, but I always forget which one it is. Think MRG, Mad River Glen. And this one shines there. They have Marker Duke PT16, so could use for backcountry, but haven't toured with it. Yeah, it's kind of a thick ski to tour with. I mean, I'm not a big tour person, so what do I know? But I think that's why they have the QST 106 Echo, because it's a good powder design, but they are a little chunky. but that's why you're getting the dampness. Black Crow's Mirrors Core, 178, go-to when skiing with my wife or younger daughter. Yep, that makes sense. You can have a lot of fun with short radius turns. Make skiing slower, much more fun, good in the tight trees, and the youngin' loves, oh, yeah, my kids love the trees too. Pretty good in the bumps. Demo bindings, mount point back 1.5 centimeter. Oh, I should test that if I get a chance next time. Okay, Stokely Laser WRT, carving ice ski, lots of fun, but lots of work. Often will take out for the first few runs, then switch to the kendo when it gets more chopped up. That makes sense. Or the core if going in the woods, okay. Head core 87 with the Salomon shifts, backcountry ski, also ungroomed woods when there is much snow. Those head core 87s are very good for light skiers and very lightweight. That makes total sense. A lot of people think of touring skis as really wide, but where you're going, the core 87 makes perfect sense to me as somebody who doesn't understand touring. Stokely Storm Rider 88, 184 centimeter. I haven't seen the picture yet, but I was kind of going to suggest that. It's like, oh, if you love that kendo, I kind of wonder if the Storm Rider 88 could replace a couple pairs of skis. Let's see what you have to say. 2023, medium tide. If I'm going to do some carving and bumps, softer tip is a lifesaver there. Also good with the fam. Probably one size too big, although the next shortest was 175 centimeter. Yeah, it's hard. Some of that's to taste. If you like how easy the tip initiation is on the Storm Rider 88, not saying that you need to replace them, but if you get a chance, demo the current generation of Storm Rider 88 because it's even easier. And even if you don't need to buy it, if you're kind of an enthusiast, which this quiver is more or less telling me you are, you might just demo them, just so you can kind of compare and contrast, because I think that would be at least fun or educational for you. Not that you need to go demo anything, but if you're bored and want something to do, and want to really nerd out on it. Blizzard Thunderbird R15, yeah, 15 meter radius, 182 centimeter. GS carving ski, especially when trying to keep up with my racer nephews, less stiff, tiring than the WRT. Shines on long groomers, not a ton of those at the mountains I ski. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Thunderbirds, but the way I've heard it categorized with that kind of radius is in that Mirrors Core Octo. But interestingly enough, like if this list is to be trusted, you ski on the Mirrors Core way more than the Thunderbird. I don't know anything about the Thunderbird, but I find that interesting. Okay, Salomon Stance 96, 182, the first gen, stiffer one with the black and gray top sheets, 2023-ish. Spring ski, haven't been able to do much spring skiing the last couple of years due to schedule and weather though. It's a good ski, probably would be happier with the M7 Mantra though. Yeah, with your abilities and your strength and your race background, I've only skied the Stance 90, so I can't really like, totally predict what the 96 is like, but that tracks that you probably would like the M7 Mantra, especially since you're primarily using the Kendo 88. Definitely, if you get a chance, the new M7 Mantras would probably scratch that itch pretty well. This is a lot of skis. Castle MX 89, 180 centimeter, 2019-ish, early season. Yeah, sounds like rock ski. Yeah, oh, below that rock ski. Okay, Elan Ripstick Black, 188 centimeter, too long, will eventually sell. Fair. Again, and they also changed the ripstick recently. I don't know what year you have though. I guess I could look at the picture. But those ripsticks, oh yeah, that's not it. That looks like a 2022, 2023. I don't know. Kind of guessing with that. Man, I love this. This is so thorough and well thought out. Hopefully you guys find this interesting too. Okay, boots, Technica Cochise 130 with ZipFit Guard HV, nice. Daily Driver, fantastic boot, definitely less stiff than the Mach 1 below, so comfy with the Zip Fits. I mean, especially one thing you've probably learned from going from racing to skiing with a family, how long you ski is more important than getting every little ounce of performance squeezed out of your boots. And especially you combine the Zip Fits with a comfortable boot, you're kind of just hitting that perfect sweet spot of like, I can go all day, be comfortable, that's awesome. Technica Mach 1, 130 LV with Zip Fit, although tight squeeze strictly for carving. Yeah, and I'd be interested to know, it's a low volume. And like the flexes with the different volume, high volume versus low volume, the flexes aren't even the same. I'm sure you know better than anyone. Both with Expert Racer booster straps. Heck yeah. It's so funny, you see people spend thousands of dollars on boots and liners and then they skip the booster strap. I guess you have a race background, so that's probably why you know that. I bought most, the Mirrors Core, QST, Core 87 Thunderbird as demos. The Stokely's Stance were closeout clearance of discontinued models. Kendos were blemished. Those Kendos look brand new. In your picture. All right, let's go through your quiver. Your quiver is pretty awesome. It's a little extra. Like you definitely need to unload some of these skis. This is a lot of skis, but they're all bangers. I would say the stuff you could probably get rid of just depends on how much you like it, but like, there's a lot of crossover here. Like, are there a lot of days where you're taking the MX89 out that you wouldn't probably be on the Mirror's core? Only you will know that. And you already said you're getting rid of the Elon Ripstick, so that's good. Same for the Thunderbird. I don't know anything about the Thunderbird, but if you're on the Mirror's core for the short radius turns, I would imagine those Thunderbirds probably sit in the closet quite a few days out of the year. Head cores, I mean, those are rock skis. Rock skis have a ton of value. They can kind of eat up a lot of that damage. And you're using them for touring. I'm not gonna say anything on that. I mean, those are nice skis. My dad was actually looking at a pair of those recently, and they were really hard to find over the summer. And I think he did eventually find a pair, but he borrowed a pair of his friends and absolutely loved them. Okay, the first thing about this picture, I'm no plumber, but is it a good idea to store your skis on the plumbing? There's gotta be somewhere else. You know what this looks to me, as someone who is also married? This looks like your wife was sick of looking at your skis or having them fall over, which I can respect. What you could do is, I think that there are some brands where you can go and buy those little like plastic ski holders. You'll see them in a lot of shops, especially by the service area, where they kind of put the skis in. And I'm no better, right? I've got these like on a wood board, but I would recommend getting yourself a ski rack so you don't have to like put them in here. Because what makes me nervous about looking at this picture is if any of these are hot water pipes, I'm not a plumber, but you don't want the temperature difference on the skis when they're kind of directly on the pipe like that. And two, especially since you're on the East Coast, you can get condensation on the pipes and then that will drip onto the skis and then you'll end up having to tune your skis and clear the rust more than you need to. What I would do is if you're storing your skis, maybe you have a dehumidifier, but I would get a little rack for them, keep them off the ground and wax them, like put storage wax on them on the summer and then keep a dehumidifier and then just keep them in a dry area where it doesn't have a lot of light exposure. This is probably better than most people like keeping them in the shed or whatever, but I would maybe just move them away from these pipes if possible. What's that other ski on the far end? I just can't quite make it out. Which one would it be? What am I missing? Head core, Stokely laser, got it. What is that ski on the far right? My old eyes can't see anymore. That must be the Salomon stance. Get rid of the stance too. I hate to say that. It's not a bad ski, but like, for spring skiing skis, let's be honest, you're gonna use your kendos. Who are we fooling? You're gonna use the kendos, the Storm Riders. You probably have more fun on those. If you ever get a Volkl M7 Mantra, that will easily replace that. You could probably replace the Thunderbirds. What I would do if I was you is I would consolidate this down. You're already getting rid of the ripsticks, that's great. I would get rid of the Elon ripsticks since you're not using them. Nothing against ripstick, but it's just not a good fit. I would at least, they'd be on the chopping block, the Kessel MX89 if you're not using them a ton, since they're doing a lot of the Mirror's core. The Blizzard Thunderbirds, sounds like they need to be gone yesterday. Maybe keep your Stokely lasers, but eventually you could look at a monorail. So you could like sell them and use some of that money towards a monorail. I'd keep the lasers, I like the lasers, what am I saying? Keep those, and then I would get rid of those Salomon stances, and then you are now getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs of skis. So you're not gonna get much for used skis, but you might, sell them for a couple $100. Somebody who's looking for a nice pair of skis. It's not like any of these are super old. Sell them, get a couple $100, then use the sale of those 4 skis and go and buy yourself something that you're gonna like. Get like an M7 Mantra. If you love that kendo, you're gonna have a blast on the M7 Mantra, especially since it'll replace that spring skiing ski. I think you would love that. And then beyond that, like what I would maybe test is a Stokely Monero. Just looking at all these skis you have great taste in skis, you seem to have a decent carving ability. If you're feeling like maybe the timing is too demanding, that's fair, but you're already skiing on like a Stokely laser, which is very demanding. So I would either like check out the new Storm Rider, which is really forgiving, or just test drive a Monero AR, a Monero AX. If you like the Mirror's core and you like the Stokely, you want a shorter radius Stokely, test out the Monero AX. I bet you'd really like that. So that would be my suggestion. Get rid of a few of these kind of skis that are more in the outer orbit that aren't getting a ton of mileage. Somebody else will be thrilled to get a banging deal on skis. And then it'll allow you to kind of test things that you're gonna enjoy more, that you're gonna get a lot of mileage on. They're tools, not jewels, but they also need to get high volume. And there's no way that all of these skis are getting high volume. It sounds like you could really like somebody, came up to you and was like, you can only keep 4 pairs of these, you could do that pretty easily. You'd probably say kendos, Mirror's core, QSTs, and your Storm Riders. And maybe your touring skis or whatever, but like there's a lot of kind of fluff here you could consolidate down and treat yourself to something kind of new. The M7 Mantra, I really think the newer version, you would have so much fun on that. And same for the Stokely Monero AX or AR, try that out. Also, if you want to like ever upgrade your tree ski, like the head cores, which are phenomenal skis, but I would make a wager that you would probably really enjoy a Volkl Blaze 104 for touring, for quick hop turns, for more powder-ish days. They're also really easy to ski with kids. I've used those with my kids and love them. So that's my 2 cents. This is a long Rate My Quiver. Let's move on to the next one. But Brian, I do want to say thank you for supporting us via Patreon. On to the next person. All right, the next quiver comes from our other Patreon supporter, Bruce. Bruce says, "Hi Elliott, thanks for the reminder about Rate My Quiver. Great idea to offer that benefit to your Patreon subscribers. So about me and my skis, I'm 60 years old, 6'1", and about 195 in reasonably athletic shape. I'm a solid intermediate plus, which is probably advanced, skier who spends most of his time on Mount Hood. I've been skiing 6 years and ski mostly groomers, but have been venturing more off trail as my ability confidence level grows." That makes total sense. I feel that. As somebody who grew up racing, who didn't really do a lot of off trail skiing, I mean some, but like off trail skiing is not that fun when you're on Volkl race tire slalom skis. And like, as somebody who bought my own skis and tuned them and waxed them, it's always a little scary to like go near rocks, which now I've learned is not the right way to think about it. But anyway, I understand what you're saying. As I've gotten older and got more confident, it feels like it's allowed me to explore more of the mountain. Okay, my first pair of skis were the 2023 Salomon QST 92s, 176 centimeter. That's a great first ski that I still enjoy as early season condition skis. Probably nice too as you're like getting more confident off trail. Those are great like daily drivers and really nice off trail. And Mount Hood, that kind of makes sense. As my skill level increased, I wanted something a little more chargery, so I bought the 2024 Blizzard Rustler 9, 180 centimeter. A month ago, I picked up the 2025 Salomon QST 106 in a 181 centimeter after they went on a deep discount at Evo. Nice pickup. Those are nice skis. Especially you like the QST 92, you like need a powder ski. That makes a ton of sense to me. There, you know, it's not perfect. No ski's perfect, but you probably got a good deal on it if you bought it last month. At least you're paying probably under $520, right? And you got the sizes you need because 181 goes really quick for the QST 102. Yeah, you got a good deal. I'm guessing. If you, I don't know, I would, it feels like a safe guess. You probably got a really good deal on the skis, especially since the QST 106 is changing. So they're like kind of offshoring the previous generation, but that generation is a good ski. And the QST 106 is a good powder ski that still has that distinct QST turn. I really feel like for that generation Salomon QST, the 106 was kind of peak QST feel for powder skis. Nothing wrong with the blank. I mean, it's not my preferred. It just doesn't have that distinct feeling like the 106. I want to do more powder skiing on the rare days here when we have decent powder. Are they too much ski for me at my ability level? Likely, but I wanted to give them a try to see if they really do make a difference in deeper snow. I'd love any feedback you might have. Thanks and congratulations on the launch of your Patreon. Oh, one more thing. Based on your and others' advice in previous videos, I purchased all my skis as last year's models on the end of season deals and saved a bundle. Bruce, all right. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you saved a lot of money. I mean, a lot of times things don't change or the previous generation is still a good ski. They just make a decision change. That's the best way to do it. You probably saved a ton of money and like that allows you to try other skis. I don't think the QST 106 will be too much ski for you if you already like the QST 92. You kind of already have an understanding of how that line skis. They're different, obviously, but having skied the QST 92 and QST 106, if you feel comfortable in the QST 92, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think you'll really like it. It is a lot of ski. It does well in powder. If you do get them on snow and you feel like they're too much ski, then I would maybe look at something different. If I was looking for a kind of early powder ski, there are more forgiving options. And by forgiving, I just mean things that will allow you to redirect in the powder more easily. The QST 106s are really floaty. They have really fun, smooth turns in the powder. But if you wanted something that could kind of negotiate across the hill more or let you redirect your energy, there are other options. Kind of the next step below the QST 106 as far as like forgiveness, something that's more forgiving, I would look at like an atomic bent 110. That would probably be a pretty good fit for that. You could even go bent 100 if you're really not wanting that much width, but QST 106 to 110 is pretty similar. Or you could look, if you really are feeling overwhelmed by both of those skis, the head core 105 has changed, so I can't really suggest that, but you could look at like an atomic backland 107 or 102. Those are very, very forgiving. They don't carry their momentum as much, and that might be a problem, especially in the Pacific Northwest powder when it can get a little bit wetter. The QST 106 probably is perfect for having both of those things met, but if you feel like the QST 106 just isn't very forgiving. A lot of times in the off season, you can find great deals on Atomic bent 110s, or even just like on a powder day, go and maybe demo one of those. But other than that, I think you're golden. If you really like those skis and you're ever looking for something similar, Renown has a Citadel 107, which is kind of in that same vein of style ski. But all in all, I think you're set with those 106s. What do I think of your quiver though? For what you're doing, it makes a ton of sense. The Rustler 9, I don't know as much. I've only skied the Rustler 10. If I were you skiing in Oregon, I would probably look at getting a crud cutter ski. It's hard because I'm only really skiing Oregon back in my old race days, or a lot up at Mount Hood, but I know how some of that snow can get, and I would love like a Mantra 88 or an M7 Mantra or a Nordic Enforcer 99 if that kind of suits your fancy more, but that may be something as you progress as a skier. And those are pretty beefy skis, and like, I don't know, that might be a little bit overkill. Oh, you know what I would do? If you're really into skiing and you get a chance to demo stuff, try a pair of Mavericks. I would test them out, just out of curiosity, just to see what's out there. But I would also probably test out a Mantra 88. Just see how you like it. If you hate it, don't buy it sight unseen. Demo it. You can find good deals on it, but I would try out a Mantra 88 because you have this kind of off-trail ski thing covered. Now, if that's primarily all you care about, then don't worry about what I'm saying. But if you want to get, better at carving, none of these skis are super, super accurate. The Blizzard Rustler 9 is probably doing it for you now, but if I was looking for a more carving-oriented ski, I would be looking maybe at a Maverick, maybe at an Elan Ripstick. Yeah, that's what I would test next. Because if you're intermediate plus, you've got the asymmetrical shape, you've got a forgiving shape. They can get hung up a little bit, but I would honestly try an Elan Ripstick 96 Green Edition. I would be curious to hear what you think. And I would bet that for carving, those would do a lot for you. I bet that there's a chance you could really enjoy those. So go and demo stuff as much as you can, just to get a feel for what you like. There's so many skis out there. But if I was giving you like a to-do list of things to demo, it would absolutely first off be the Elan Ripstick 96 Green Edition and the Volkl Mantra 88. You might hate the Mantra 88, but you won't know until you try it. Other than that though, great quiver. You've been very methodical, you've gotten good deals, you've picked really good ski models so far. I'm really impressed. You've picked some really nice skis. This is a very good first quiver. A lot of people, when they are kind of building this out, it's very scattershot, and this seems very purposeful, and you did a really good job. I would just look at some of those other options as you figure out and kind of learn what you like going forward. All right, the next quiver comes from Dwayne from Patreon. He's one of our Patreon producers. All right, he's got the Rossi Basalt 86 Eastern Daily Driver and Bump Ski. Love it, love it. Sender 94 Ti Western Daily Driver, Bent 110, Powder Ski, and anything else. Tell me what I'm missing. Okay, let's take a look at the picture. Gosh, dang, those are good looking skis. Got look pivots on the two on the outside, and then it looks like look SPX is in the middle. I haven't skied the Sender 94 Ti, so I can't really give my opinion. I've only skied the Sender 104 Ti, but you never know with the widths how things get changed up. That's a beautiful quiver. It's very succinct, very slimmed down, very purposeful, but I can't think of a different ski you would need. That's great. You kind of nailed it. I don't know, you could get a crud cutter ski if you need something for the chopped up weather, or you could get a short radius ski if you wanted like a Mears core or something for quick little turns. If you want to have a lot of fun without having the ability to go really fast, I guess it would just depend on which ski you really like. Do you like get bent 110s? I'm assuming if you got them this past spring, you probably got them for a killer deal, or even last fall. Yeah, if you don't like the bent 110s too much, you might try the Sender 110 free just to see how you like it, especially since you like the experience and seem to like your Sender 94 Ti's. You could also go the opposite way, where maybe as your experiences get older, you try out an Atomic Maverick, especially like the 95 Ti current version. You could try a Nordic Enforcer or a Volkl M7 Mantra for the spring kind of cruddy conditions, although the Sender 94 Ti is honestly maybe already doing that for you. And then, yeah, if you wanted to try a short radius ski, you could look at the Black Crowes Octo, look at a Mears core if you like the more freestyle ones. There's other short radius skis though. You could try the DPSs, see how you like them. It's a pretty specific ski though, for a pretty specific skier. I think you kind of nailed this. Only thing I would add is like a crud cutter ski, if that is what you need. You could get a light powder ski. Now the Bent 110 is probably gonna cover that. Or Yeah, like you could try out a Mantra 84, you could try out a Black Rose Octo, something like that for those shorter radius days. But all these are beautiful skis, they're all in beautiful shape, and they've got nice bindings on them. You know, I don't prefer pivots on carving skis, but you may like them on your experiences and they may be great for you. You know, that's kind of a personal preference thing. But all in all, this is a great quiver. Everything's really clean. You got good bindings on all of them. I think if you take care of these skis, they'll last you a long time. The only thing you could look at is just like testing other things as you get opportunities to. If you get a chance to like test out DPS skis, test them. Like you don't have to buy them, but just see what else is out there. Or if you get a chance to test some short radius skis like a Black Rose Octo, absolutely do that. But I don't think you're like really missing out on anything major. I think for the majority of days, you've probably got exactly the tool you need, and that is the sign of a good quiver. So this is not a giant quiver, but it is very purposeful and very well put together. Nice job, Dwayne. This is awesome. I don't have anything to roast. You're not giving me much to work with here, but honestly, this is phenomenal. All right, up next we have Sam. Sam has a Stokely Monroe AR, a JSkis Joyride, a JSkis Master Blaster, Blizzard Cochise, Icelandic Nomad, Atomic Maverick 88 Ti. Okay, I'm 5'11", advanced skier. I used to race in high school, but I was pretty bad at it. All right, the fact that you could do it still puts you in like the top 75%. I took a long hiatus and got back into skiing last year. I went crazy and bought all these skis this year without demoing based on reviews, yours, and blisters. Ooh, that is risky business. I hope it worked out. I guess we'll find out. This is actually a hate letter, okay. And top sheets, one thing led to another. I'm wondering if by buying so many skis and putting my snow tires on too early, I've jinxed the entire Western US and condemned us to a drought. Oh, so you're the person responsible. I live in New Mexico and have been up to ski the White Rim of Death at Keystone and Breckenridge in Colorado this season. Because of the complete lack of snowfall and only having 4 ski days, mostly repeatedly skiing Schoolmarm again and again, I've not even tried Icelandic Nomad yet, but I have tried the other 3. First, I absolutely love the Stokely Monroe ARs. Everything that you said about them is true. It's smooth, stable, intuitive to initiate, has great edge hold, no real top speed that I've been able to find, perfectly releases from a turn, 10 out of 10. I'm really glad to hear you like them. They are not cheap skis, but they are tremendously nice skis. It's hard to explain to people because a lot of skis out there are smooth. They're damp. You've got Volkl, you've got Nordica, but for carving specifically, those skis do other things well, like especially bad conditions, reliable turns. But as far as like fine-tuned carving, not only are they smooth like dampness-wise, they're just smooth on edge. They manage to be smooth while you're kind of on the edge and coming through the turn in a way that's really hard to describe to people. It's always a gamble because they are more expensive, and I try to be realistic, like not everybody would absolutely love it, but I'm glad in this case, as somebody who used to race, that you're enjoying them because they are a really phenomenal ski. And I always tell people, like, at the very least, like if you get a chance to try them. Okay, the JSkis Master Blaster is very heavy and damp. It was highly recommended on Blister. They presented the ski as playful, damp, and stable for giving all mountain ski. It's great for when the conditions deteriorate and become chopped up, but it's also really hard to carve at low speeds and feels like it can only carve really big turns. This might be a function of my ego causing me to buy it in a 187. I don't feel like it gives me much energy back out of the turn. I'm used to slightly more directional skis, and it's weird that carved turns don't really seem to initiate from the shovels. I feel that it is better as an off-piste tool to cut through the crud and versus snow conditions, but I feel some regret because A, that's kind of the role I envisioned for the Cochise, and B, I could have just gone an M7 Mantra. The top sheets are sick though. I don't know anything about JSkis, so I can't give you an honest opinion. Every year, JSkis and I message each other. They say, okay, sweet, we want to work together. And I just don't hear back from them for 9 months. So I'm kind of in this perpetual thing. I've not tried JSkis. I just can't give an honest opinion about it. But I'm sorry that that happened. I don't know, I don't really read Blister or know much about their takes, but I'm sorry that happened to you. It's hard, you know, who knows? I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot completely. I'm gonna leave it alone. I just don't really have Blister on my radar. They're kind of different formats and everything, but that can be the hard part with the reviews. They presented the ski as playful, damp, stable, forgiving all mountain ski. That is so vague. You could bundle any ski as that. And I think the problem is that, like, I don't even think, from what I hear, JSkis are bad skis. I hear good things about them. But when a review fails to designate who the ski is good for, that's when it gets into the hands of the wrong audience and it doesn't fill the role of a quiver. properly. But again, that may not be Blister's fault. That may have just been lost in translation somewhere. Who knows? I can't speculate on that. But just broadly talking about reviews from other channels that I've watched, that is my biggest gripe with a lot of reviews being really vague and really like, oh, it's hard charging and a ton of fun. It's like, that doesn't tell me anything. Anyway, not saying that that's what Blister did, but I've seen broadly that happen. Okay, I wish I could lend it to you to review, but my boots are 29.5, so I don't think you could ski them without remounting. Yeah, and like by the time you paid to ship them, it wouldn't be worth it. If JSkis wants their skis reviewed, they can send them. They know where to reach me. I've talked to them. They just, they need to reply to their email. And I don't charge. I don't know. There's no excuse really at this point. So, but I appreciate it. It's a nice thought. The Joyride is a park ski, not a spark ski, a park ski that I impulse bought thinking that it would be really fun to ski in bumps and try out some park this year. I haven't had a chance to ski in bumps yet. I'm excited to. On groomers, the center mounted nature of it makes it harder for me to carve in a traditional way. I'm pretty light and not very stiff at all. Easy for my weight to make it feel kind of overpowered. Yeah. And you're kind of going more over the tips. A lot of those more centered skis, you just have to do really short radius turns or wash out a lot of your turns. That was my experience skiing the K2 Reckoner, which like granted is not built for me, but you have to kind of ski the way that you can with how it's mounted and how it's built. And if you're coming from a traditional racing carving turn, it's gonna feel odd. The Nomad is a powder ski, and the Cochise is supposed to be my chop destroyer. Anyway, a lot of these skis would be hard to demo, but I certainly should have demoed more. Yeah, that's kind of an industry problem. It's really hard for someone to get out there and demo these skis. But I'm glad that at least a couple of them you got on and you really enjoyed. What would I recommend for you? You've already spent a lot of money on skis. Oh, go demo some more skis. That's what I would do. Some shops actually, like some rental places at the mountain, you can actually go and like pay, and you pay once, depending on the ski hill, and they will let you demo as many as you want for the day. I've had that happen at 2 different mountains, up at Mount Hood and at my home mountain, Bogus Basin. I would do that. Get on as many pairs of skis in one day as you can, like set your day aside, do a big marathon, and then get a feeling for what you like. The problem is that some of the places that do that, they only have like one brand. Like I've gone to some places where they had a bunch, and some places where it's only Rosignol. It's still a good like drill to do, but it becomes hard when you can only try one brand, right? Because then you're trying like different types of skis. There's nothing wrong with trying Rosignol, but for me it was like, okay, I can try the Center Free 110 and the Arcade, and it's like, oh, those are very different categories. I can't really do apples to apples. If you like the Monero, what would I try? What do I ski on? Oh, traditional racing, try a Mantra 88, maybe try a Storm Rider. I don't want to send you down too many rabbit holes. What would I have you test? Somebody who used to race who likes carving. Mantra 88 or Mantra 84 would probably be the first thing I would have you try, especially for like kind of crud cutting, kind of good carving. An Atomic Maverick, oh God, the new ones, I don't know. They're still good skis. I try an Atomic Maverick 88 CTI. What would I have you try? This is really hard. I'm trying to be thoughtful based on what you already have. This is tough, man. You're already set with Monterey R. At least you got one like solid pair that you really love. Just get mileage on the Monterey R. You're gonna have so much fun on that. Try an M7 Mantra. Just try it. You're gonna thank me later. Try it. Try an Atomic Bent 110, and try, if you get the chance, it's hard to come by, try a DPS Kaizen 112. That'd be my suggestion. Don't look back. Don't go for top sheets. Don't get distracted. Go and try those skis. Just try them. I'm not saying buy them, go try them. Go try an M7 Mantra, go try a Bent 110, and go try the DPS Kaizen 112. The M7 and the Kaizen 112, you shouldn't have to mess with the mounting point. Bent 110, you may have to take it back a click, but I bet you'd really like it. Oh, or try the Maverick 105 CTI. That's your homework. Go try those. Don't get distracted by marketing. Don't just take my word for it and don't go buy them. That's what I would suggest. Thank you so much, Sam, for all of your nice comments and for supporting us on Patreon. I hope this is kind of helpful for you. All right, great. And right at the perfect timing, my internet went out. Okay, I'm gonna do our last Patreon supporter. If I missed you and you're a Patreon supporter and I didn't rate or roast your quiver, please email me. I'm not trying to overlook it. I literally just lost internet and I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. So if I missed you, please reach out. I want to make sure I do the right thing and roast and rate your quiver, especially before we get busy with ski season. So this will be the last one for today. I think that's everyone, but if I missed you, please email me directly, okay? All right, And if you're a non-Patreon person and you want me to rate your quiver, I will try in the future. This is kind of like a guaranteed way of doing it, but you can still email me. And if you have questions, especially like you want to know what ski you think would fill out your quiver, or you just want ski like advice for stuff right now, I'm happy to help. I will probably send you like an affiliate link so that if it's useful and you're gonna order, like that does help us as a reminder, but I'm not like trying to sneak it in. Just I'll try to help as many of you guys as I can, especially before we get to full 2026 prices. And I know a lot of people right now is when they remember to buy skis or remember that they need gear, boots, whatever. Email me, I will try to help you as best I can. Don't hesitate, ricketyskireviews@gmail.com. Okay, next one comes from Christoph. Christoph says, resorts are starting to open in both the US and Europe. I'm already sitting on 41 days booked for this season. 30 in the Alps, Chamonix, Le Grave, Three Valleys. Oh, I have so many questions for you. Okay. Plus another 10 in the US, Big Sky, Alta, Deer Valley. I'm curious to see the new expanded terrain. Since I'm based in Los Angeles, I'll also get days in at Mammoth, Palisades, Tahoe, and of course, our baby mountains like Mount Baldy and Mountain High. Still better than going to the gym. I'm 53 now, and I've been skiing since I was 3. Hard to believe that 50 years on snow, I tore my ACL 3 years ago at the end of the season. Hey, you're lucky you got 47 years. Surgery went well, and I was back following winter. I don't remember seeing a video from you on Hinge Braces Stoco Brace Layer. On big days, I brace up, and on lighter days, I run Stoco. I would love your thoughts. Yeah, I'll reach out to Stoco, see if they want me to test it. I've been using CWX, which, you know, I'm not a doctor or anything, but it's worked pretty well for me so far. But yeah, I'll check it out. I fell for Black Crows a few years back. I like the simplicity of the design philosophy and how intentional their lineup feels, but I enjoy mixing brands too. It keeps things interesting. I keep 2 quivers, US West Coast and the Alps, okay? My US quiver photo attached if you want, reference it in a video. Yep. Volkl Deacon 84, Black Crows Camo, Dynastar M-Free 108. The Deacon is incredible for charging on piste. Actually, my dad has those exact same skis. But lately I find myself doing more wide radius carving, trees and off piste. I'll probably replace it at the end of the season with a more playful piste-oriented ski. Yeah, I think those skis are nice, but a lot of skis have kind of caught up where all mountain skis, you can get pretty close to the same performance while also having more range. And for reference, my French quiver, which is the majority of your days, right? I didn't read that wrong. It's like 3/4 of your days is in France. Black Crows Octo, Black Crows Camo, Salomon QST 106. That is a great quiver. Keep doing what you're doing. Your style on YouTube is refreshing, direct, honest, and without pretense. I wish more ski reviewers approached it the same way. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you to say. What do I think of your quiver? Your US quiver is only 25% of your days, so I don't, I'm not gonna roast it too hard because your France quiver is phenomenal. The Octo, Camo, and QST 106, that alone like carries it all. That's a great setup. You got a powder ski, you got a short radius ski, you got an in-between, that's a little more freestyle-y. Yeah, you nailed it with your France quiver. There's nothing I can say beyond that. You might, I don't know how you ski in France. If you get a big storm, you might enjoy, I know that's not like their thing, and you have to be really careful skiing off-piste, but on a big powder day, you might want something a little wider. The 106 is probably gonna eat 90% of that actually. You could always look at like a bent 120, maybe demo it, see if you like it. Could always look at like a Kaizen 112, but again, you're traveling around. I think your France quiver is just completely dialed in. For your US quiver, based on where you're skiing, I haven't skied the free, so it's hard to say. That probably is carrying a lot of your powder days. Honestly, you have 2 pair of camos, so you must like that ski. You might look at a JSkis, just try it, see what you think. What would I do if I were you in the US? I would look at a crud cutter in case you're out here during the wrong time of year, you know. You might also really enjoy, if you're not super happy with your Black Crows, you could look at like a Volkl Blaze 104 for light powder days and hopping around. I honestly would be curious to think what you think of like an Atomic Maverick 105 CTI or Maverick 88 CTI. I would be curious to hear what you think of like a Volkl Mantra 84 to replace that Deacon. That's what I would do. Test a pair of those. Could go with a Mantra 88. You know, those are a little bit more diverse, but if you want something down the fall line that's really aggressive, I bet the Mantra 84 would just blow the hair back off of your head. You know what I mean? Like it would just, am I saying that right? Blow back your hair? I bet it would knock your socks off. A Mantra 84 going from a Deacon to an 84, I bet you'd have so much fun. That's an absolute rocket. That's what I would do maybe, is like add in something like that, or a Mantra 88. Could always go M7 Mantra if you're looking for like bad end of the year snow. Your France quiver is absolutely dialed in, locked in. Couldn't think of any better way to like spread that out. Octo Camo QST 106, come on, you nailed that. And it looks like you're experimenting a little bit more with your US quiver. But that's what I would do. Especially if you're going up to like Sierra Cement. Try out an M7 Mantra, try out a Mantra 88. Maybe try an Nordic Enforcer just to like spice it up and try something different, especially the Enforcer 99. God, this is a great quiver though. You know what you really need to do? This is an expensive suggestion. He's like, I'm not supporting you on Patreon anymore. I'm gonna take the money from that. Do this. You know what you should do? You should try a Stokely. I am not just saying that like they're expensive, so I'm not ignoring that, but you should try it. If you like the Volkl Deacon, go out, try a Stokely Stormrider 88, especially the new gen, but try a Stokely Monero AR, or Monero AX for that matter. I'd be very curious. It would be a good exercise just in seeing what's out there. I would try that out, see if you can live without it, and if it doesn't totally blow you away, either the Monero AR, Monero AX, or Stormrider, I'd start with the AR. I bet you'd like that. Oh, you have the Black Rose Octo? I'd try the Monero AX too. It's gonna be an expensive day. And then I would go and try the Volkl Mantra 88, maybe the 84 if you like really aggressive lines, and go from there. There's a lot of stuff on the horizon I bet you would really like. Based on your quiver, based on seeing where you ski, seeing like your experience and everything else. If your knee thing is a problem and you're wanting a more forgiving ski, maybe you want to lean Stormrider. But I think based on everything I know here, you owe it to yourself to at least try a Stokely Monero AR, Monero AX, or Stormrider. If your knee isn't feeling super strong, maybe I'd lean Stormrider 88. If you're feeling like, man, I just want to see how good a turn can feel, especially where you're skiing, I would try Monero AR. I don't say that lightly. I know they're really expensive. I know it's like easy to say that when it's someone else's money, but my God, try a Monero AR. That's my suggestion. Anyway, thank you for supporting me. For powder skis, like I said, try out some of those DPSs. Definitely, I think that you should try on an Atomic Bent 110. You know, just give it a try, see what you think, especially for navigating different powder scenarios. I think that everything else you've tried. You could also try a Rossignol Sender 110 free. That might be kind of fun. Maverick 105 CTI. I think that would be the next thing I would tell you to try for powder ski. But you've already got such great taste. Like I said, your France quiver absolutely carries the rest of this. Try a Stokely Monero AR for, if nothing else, for educational purposes. I bet you would be I'd be interested to hear what you think. All right, I've said enough. Great quiver. Thank you so much, Christoph. I really appreciate your support, and I really appreciate you emailing in your quiver as well. Curious to know what you have for boots. I guess it doesn't matter too much. Like, do you travel with your boots? Do you bring those back and forth, or do you keep those stationed? Anyway, I guess it doesn't matter too much. Thank you so much, Christoph. I really appreciate your support, and thank you so much for submitting. So like I said, these videos take a lot. I always get way more submission than I could have ever dreamed of, but I wanted to share this with you. I will have affiliate links down below to all of the current gen skis, as well as ski deals that are still kind of floating around. If you want to support the channel, that's a free way of doing it without costing you any extra money. If you'd like to be a patron of the Patreon? God, that's a tongue twister. If you want to support the channel via Patreon and have your quiver roasted, please consider joining. I will have that in the description down below. We also have like Venmo and Ko-Fi if you want to do one-off support. That's an option as well. You can like and subscribe. That's a really great way to let the algorithm know that my video is worth watching and, you know, help kind of other skiers find my content. But as always, more than anything, just thanks for being here. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch my content. It means a ton to me. It always blows me away that you guys are so nice in the comments, so helpful to one another, and I really appreciate it. Again, thank you to all the Patreon supporters. I can't say thank you enough for that. And of course, as always though, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.